Since 1954, Terrebonne General has been a beacon of health and hope in our community. As we mark 7 decades of dedication to your well-being, Terrebonne General Health System remains committed to advancing healthcare, improving lives, and expanding our services to meet your evolving needs. In celebrating our past, we look forward to a future filled with promise and progress. Your health is our legacy. To discover more, visit tghealthsystem.com.
All right, we are back here on Bayou Time Martin Falls, along with the Council Chair, John Amedee. John, good to see you again. How are you?
I'm doing well, and it's good to be here.
Yeah, y'all staying busy. I've been keeping up with y'all, but it seems like it never ends. When y'all get one thing solved, something else comes up, but that's government, isn't it?
That's it. You know, it's always about coming to a resolution on whatever the issues are, and they keep coming at us, so we keep doing what we have to do.
Yeah, somebody was asking me, I've had so many lunches where people ask me about the parking dilemma, but that parking dilemma comes from chunks of cement were falling on people's vehicles. It needed to be done before something major happened.
And what happens too is it exposes the reinforcement steel, and as that rusts, it pops it off even more. So we had that assessment done, and then now we're getting a second opinion just to make sure before we take an action, we want to be 100% sure of what it is that we need to do. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have that pretty soon.
Yeah, because I went to get a permit today, and I went to drive up under it just from habit, and I saw Steve Palmville. So I said, Steve, where did he move? He said, 4th floor. Had a lot of people up there, too.
And, you know, I have to commend the administration because I got the call on Friday, and they were making moves to be able to accommodate all the things that happen. And, you know, utility departments pay people go underneath there to pay their bills and stuff. So they were able to get a lot done. They made some more readjustments at the beginning of this week, and I think they've got it pretty comfortable for right now for what we have to do.
I might throw a little quip in there because that parking lot wasn't a bad deal after all.
That's what I keep telling everybody. I said, you know, if we hadn't purchased that, we'd really be scrambling. Right. And then throw on the Whitney Bank purchase, that's helped us out a lot as well because that gave us additional parking. So that we had the Civic Center, but, you know, it's a hassle to shuttle people back and forth. Yeah. You really have to do a lot of planning for when you're coming and going into the building. So with the buildings, with the parking real close to the building, block or two away, that really helps. And the people can be shuttled as well. They'll keep the shuttle rolling around the blocks to be able to do that.
And I have additional parking. I'm not trying to make money. I'm just saying we haven't finished renovating the buildings next door. So if they need it temporarily or whatever, just let me know.
Sure,
we
will.
can help out.
Sure
there.
will.
Let me ask you, one hot topic will be changes to the millage rates by rolling some forward and rolling back on others. Give us your thoughts on that.
So what happens, maybe the public's not aware, but every 4 years, and it could be every year or every 2 years, but at least every 4 years, the assessor has to reassess the tax millage rates. And the whole purpose of this is to, because of the changes in property value, we have to adjust the rates so that we're collecting the same amount that we were the prior year because of the changes in property values. So with that, he does an adjusted rate, and then we look at that and make a determination, is that going to cover what we need for services? So there's a couple things that we have to do because, you know, government, just like everybody else, is affected by inflation. And unlike the federal government, we can't just print money. And we don't have goods to sell to raise funding. So we do that through our property taxes.
We could print money, but we'd be in jail.
Absolutely. So, you know, so we have to look at that. And looking forward, then there's a couple things that take place. First, if we don't roll the rate forward, then we're going to be bound to that adjusted rate until the next reassessment. And then we'll lose that maximum amount that the voters actually voted for, because now that newly adjusted maximum rate would be our rate. So we have to be careful that we don't cut ourselves out of being able to provide the services. So then we're going to roll some forward. Now, you can only roll forward if there was an increase in property values. If there's a decrease, then we can't do that. But looking forward, of course, with the costs of inflation, there are some that they determine that in order to be able to keep providing these services, we'll have to roll it forward. And all that does is protect that maximum rate, and doesn't mean that we're going to levy that maximum rate, because if you look in years prior, it's kind of like a sliding scale. We don't necessarily, I'll give you an example. In Road Lighting District 1, a couple years back, we assessed 0.5, and I think the maximum is maybe 5.5, because we didn't need it. We gotten some rebates from energy from the Hurricane Ida time. The next year we went to 1 mil. Now we're going up because we have some repairs that need to be done, and that's how it pays for the
And I'm
repairs.
sure y'all have public input to come to the conclusions that you do.
We do. We're doing public hearings, in fact, on Wednesday night beforehand to hear what the public says. But a lot of people call us in between, those who are really watching that closely, that are really paying attention to what's happening, especially a lot of the businesses and such. And while we're talking about that, we're also having a public hearing and voting on a $25,000 exemption for EMS. Anybody that lives within the parish, the legislature voted to give them that credit, and we're going to give them the opportunity. We met with the sheriff and the fire chiefs and the chief of police and those involved, and say, hey, are you okay with giving another credit to your guys? And the sheriff was really pushing it. So so that's going to be coming up Wednesday as well.
That's good. I've always said law enforcement and first responders don't make enough to, and we need them. We need them so bad, as we can
If
see.
you've ever used them, for sure.
Yeah, let's do this. We'll take a short break. We're going to come back. We'll have a second part with our council chair. John Amedee, by the way, represents District 4. So we'll be right back. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. All right, we are back. We're talking with John Amedee. He is the council chair here in Terrebonne Parish, and also he's been representing District 4 as a council chair. And I think all would agree most council people represent everybody, because it crosses over at some point, you know?
It is, because we're all for Terrebonne Parish.
Yeah.
And we want to see Terrebonne Parish succeed. So when we look at something, you know, I use the story. I said, when we voted for the tax on levies, we don't need levies in Schriever. But if we don't, in 50 years, we will.
You're 11 to 13 feet above sea level in Schriever. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. It really is.
So we have to look at the whole.
All right. So I've been hearing the people talking back and forth. It's becoming a lunch discussion, and people talking about the RV parks and what they pay now and what the proposal will be. And I guess we should be transparent in saying, y'all really have no jurisdiction over water, but as far as a political matter, it's something that I'm sure y'all getting a lot of calls on.
We are, Martin. And to be honest, like you said, we're different entities, and we try not to interfere with any of the others. So one of my fellow councilmen has put a resolution on, just asking them to slow down a minute, take a good look at it, make sure that's what they want to do. On the other side, I've also been told that they're looking at what's called the M rate, which is multiple unit rate. So I'm thinking going further, that could affect others, not just RV parks. So mobile home parks, possibly apartment complexes. I'm not really up on it because it's not in our wheelhouse,
Right.
But it is something. I was speaking to my representative just before coming on and trying to get the whole story. That way, when people call me, I can give them an intelligent answer on what's really going on.
And that might be we have to get Mike Sobear up here to talk about I guess in a nutshell, what it is, if somebody has a RV park in the southern part of Terrebonne Parish and there's 10 lots or 10 parking spots, they would pay 10 times that rate. Is that correct?
That's what I'm understanding. It's not a connection fee. There's a different term for it. But Martin, we're having a
It
similar.
all draws off the same distribution line.
Right. But we're also having the same issue in other parts of the parish that have private sewer systems. A particular company came in and bought up all the sewer systems, and it used to be that we would pay our sewer flow in, flow out. Right. Well, now they're doing a flat rate, and they're doing that flat rate based off of structures, not off of meters or sewer line, because a quadplex apartment may have one sewer tap going into the system, but it has 4 different apartments. So now
you don't know
each of those 4, each of those 4 paying a flat rate. So I'm thinking, without full knowledge of it, I'm thinking that's what they're doing. Now, it's well within the water district's right to do what they do. They're not going outside of anything. It's just like with us with the tax millages. It's well within our right to charge the maximum, but we have to help the people in our community. So we're going to only charge what we need to charge. And I think that the water district's looking at that the same way.
Yeah, and you don't see often where there's a need for the head of the water department to sit down with the parish council, but not to say that this will go south. It might be a good opportunity to discuss a lot of things the way everybody gets educated.
Absolutely. And, the relationship that we have with the water district has been good. We know that they need to provide a new line across the intercoastal. So with that federal government money, the DR money from CDBG, we put in some money to be able to do that and have a working relationship with them. We all have to work together in order to service the people that live in Terrebonne Parish and the businesses. And I think it's always good to have those open lines of communication. Unfortunately, sometimes some people jump without getting all the details of it. And I've been kind of careful to not say a whole lot on it until I get educated on it.
Because Mike Sobert, his history, at least with our station, is pretty transparent. He'll let you know what's on his mind.
Oh, he absolutely will. I've had good times working with Mike, and he's always, whenever there's something happening in my district, he's always gotten a hold of me to let me know.
Now,
so I'm hearing it from him.
Who's launching the bill on y'all end on the council side?
So the resolution is Councilman Steve Trosclair, who put that up.
Because I think he has a few of those RV parks in his district.
He and Kim Chauvin have some, and I'm sure there are others. I mean, there's RV parks in my district as well.
Right.
I just haven't heard anything from them. Maybe they haven't discovered it yet. But from what I understand, this is something that dates back to 1994 that they just haven't been charging. That now they're actually implementing. I could be wrong.
That's an interesting story because, I understand what Steve's doing and what Kim's doing because naturally that could affect somebody whether or not they want to keep up the business or not.
I can tell you that one of the people that called me said if I have to do that, then I'm just telling everybody to move out and shutting it down. It's not. Wow. It's going to cost him more than.
And then again, if Mike's looking at it because they need the income coming in, that's why I say everybody gets at the table. There might be another route they could go where everybody wins.
There could be. So that to me would be a good suggestion. Steve's resolution asking them to just slow down, take a minute, I think opens the door for that discussion to take place.
Glad to hear that. Well, John, we appreciate you coming on and look forward to seeing how all this works out.
Yeah, it's going to work out. All the different things that we have to do. It's a part of what we do. I tell people, I said, don't tell me that's why I make the big bucks because we really don't. But that's what I signed up for, to make the tough decisions. And you have to be willing to do so. So we want to make sure that the people get the services that are supposed to be provided for them. And we have to do what we have to do to get there.
All right, now make sure you get home early. Barrels 101 is starting to run, and you got to have your popcorn and your Coke.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, John.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll take a short break. We'll be back with more. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by
Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.